My name's Megan Smith. I am a professor at the University of British Columbia, and I'm a new media artist and designer. I've been working as an artist for a couple decades now in computational art practice, and yeah, it's an amazing field to work in and to build your career in. I'm just so passionate about it.
My name is Yujie. I recently finished my PhD, which Megan was my supervisor, amazingly. So I did my PhD in interdisciplinary study, in digital art and humanities. So I worked in interactive media art and performance art for many years already now. I am currently a sessional lecturer at UBC teaching 2 media study courses.
Sure. So the exhibition is called All the Stars We Cannot See, and really it took shape during the pandemic. Like any good project in a garage, any startup project. And what we were thinking about, we were brainstorming ideas and trying to think about the night sky. And we were looking up into the sky and thinking, you know, is that a plane? Is that a satellite? Or is that a star? And sometimes you can't tell what they are at all, and you look and you're still not really convinced. And so we started to wonder about satellite traffic in space, and then as we went down this like giant wormhole on the internet, we started to wonder, well, how many satellites are actually out in space anyway? And that kind of began the process of communicating back and forth through the pandemic, through Zoom, and then in my garage.
Yeah.
And building out, looking at data, looking at spreadsheets, and then thinking, how can we make something that is creative, aesthetically interesting, that talks about the amount of space traffic there actually is, and how that the colonization of space is happening. There are so many more satellites in space than there were when we started the project, and so we were really excited to try and make something that could communicate this as an artwork. And we feel pretty passionate about making the dialogue about space and space traffic and a bigger conversation in society. And overall, when we first pushed the button on our tool and like actually visualized all of the satellites, both our jaws dropped, and we thought, oh, we really need to do this project. So I think it was a turning point for us where we were shocked and we thought, oh, this is something we need to build.
Yeah, it's such a huge amount of data out there, but somehow invisible to all of us. You couldn't, you probably hear the number, you see the data, or you see the number, the spreadsheet, but you couldn't really feel how that was looking. So what we want to do is really transforming that kind of cold data to some sort of experience, so people can really feel what, if you could see all of them at once, what that would be, and really creating an immersive environment. So consider the audience body as part of, the scale, the measurement with space and time. Yeah, so our system, we have different aspects of our system, but the simple way to put it is we're receiving some public data that's out there accessible to everyone, so everyone could possibly read that data. It's real-time traffic position data. So we integrated that data into our system, where we built a customized software. And that whole environment was done in Touch Designer. It's a node-based coding programming environment, allowing like artists to do like interactive work or installations to integrate with different data and different hardwares to bring in sensors and interactivity into their work. So that's where we built up the whole work. But then after we got that data into our system, we analyze different positioning data and transforming the position data into like onto a image, or storing those data into different channels of images with pixels, so RGB with the position of
the satellites, so the latitude, longitude, and altitude get packed into a pixel. And this is where I think like the science is really interesting, because we can package quite a lot of data into a very small environment, which is really good for processing power. But also aesthetically, when we're thinking about artwork and making art, we're painting satellite data with pixels, right? So we're painting with pixels, and we're visualizing satellite data with pixels, and so that the crossover of the arts and science really come together in a, what I think is a really interesting and engaging way.
I almost felt like the transformation of data from numbers to pixels is, I felt our approach is poetic. It's like how we could take a different perspective and showing those same data, but adding our artistic choices, elements, compositions, things like that into the work itself to build an experience.
I think the creative mind is, at the core of this art and science space, and really they're not two separate disciplines. In terms of funding structures, that's often how it has to happen in order to make the geopolitical world work, right? But if you think to the core of what science is and what art is, it's exploration, it's creativity, their hypotheses, and their discoveries, and so the processes are very intertwined already. And I mean, the reality of living in we're in an information enlightened space now. People are enlightened more in terms of their data, their access to information. There's an argument for society having larger voices and larger agency in their lives, and that comes with data. And so as artists, we're able to tap into that and build works of art that are socially impactful, and that's important. And I think like the science, it really intertwines, and I think that actually we're probably in a new phase. We just haven't got a name for it. There's been the conversation of new media for decades. Even the word meta, first came out in 1996 through a book called Snow Crash. So all of these things there's history of it being blended, and maybe in 10 years or maybe in 20 years we'll look back and say, oh, that was that era. It was, it's not contemporary art, it's not new media, it's maybe computational art. Who knows?
I also feel like technology plays such a great role because it's so accessible to everyone right now, and that how data produced through technologies requires us to think about new art to respond to that area and the time right now we're living in. So
yeah, and people have tools. People have the tools to be creative. Like as a society, we're moving towards much more creative society actions. We love experiences, and that's part of what All the Stars We Cannot See taps into. Is we want to build an experience that you feel completely engaged in. You're embodied by it. You're embodied by the satellite data. You're embodied by the thought that there's a lot happening out beyond our visual limit. And we can do that now because we have those tools that are accessible to us and that we can learn and train and build. But also, it's the right time to make this kind of work because people want to live experiences. They want to be surprised. They want to see things, and that's important to our practice.
I just think that because of the time that we're living in right now, our senses and how we perceive information and data, our senses really changed. Previously, pre-technology time, we probably immerse ourselves a little bit more and our immersive into our nature a little bit more. Our senses and our perception of time and space and environment is completely different. So I think what we're trying to do with our project is we're using the data that produced right now. But with the setup we have in the exhibition, we were trying to have people also bring the old senses and perceptions from the nature and how they could laying down and looking up to the sky. And so just behind, very under layering is data, but then we're trying to also combining the feelings and experiences with those data. So it's
they're nurtured experiences.
Yeah.
Those welcoming experiences that people like to do. They're almost romantic, lying down and looking up at the stars, and being with your friends and looking up into the stars. And we may not be providing stars, but we're providing something else that's out there in space, and which is equally captivating. It's the best place to have it in an art gallery. We're so happy to be showing it in this space. We want people to come in and feel. Part of the design of it is with the grass and the chairs for reclining and the beanbags. It's really to feel welcome into the space and to enjoy it. And so we strive to show the artwork not just on social media or those spaces. We want it out so people can see it. We want children to come and look up and talk about satellite data. If anybody comes and then goes home at night and talks about it around the dinner table, we feel like we've done us that tiny little service towards bigger conversations. Then our art gallery is a wonderful place to be able to do that, and we're very happy that we also were able to install on the outside of the art gallery to put up a large mural. The work itself is immersive and it's a digital composition, but it's experienced as an installation, and we have so many beautiful prints of the work already that it's a gift to see it up on the wall of the gallery and see how the gallery is kind of changed by that data and that information. And we walk in every morning and go, wow!
I did that this morning. I said, this is cool.
It is very cool. So,
I also felt being able to showing in a public space like Kelowna Art Gallery, the scale of the project really changed. Say the print we have at the window, previously we were looking at on our monitor, they're smaller than our own body. Now they're like huge. It's a different scale of looking at them. And just thinking how many people were passing by through that street. It's a different way to deliver work. Which is fascinating.
Yeah, and I hope people take selfies. I hope so many people take pictures and take selfies in front of it, because that's just perfect.
Yeah.
But also what's really important to us is because we built it here, we built it in Kelowna, we want people to see it. We want everybody here from our community to get a chance to observe it. I'm a parent, and I want my children to see it. I want their friends to see it. I want the teachers to see it. You know, I like, as researchers, it's one thing to be making and building, but I see it as a service to our community to share that information. And what better way than through a creative art experience? It's touching and engaging, and hopefully they love it.
Yeah.